We'll get started with our today's class. I want to give you a background information before I talked about the Battle of Bani Lahyan. As you can see this picture over here, I will use annotation to help you understand this better. So maybe let me grab blue color. Okay. So this little circle, oval that I'm drawing as around two tribes. The names of these tribes are Udul and Qarad. People from Udul and Qarad came all the way to this circle, the orange circle, which is Medina. And they asked that we need some people to teach us about Islam. So Prophet ﷺ sent 10 people. These were learned Sahaba from the Masjid al-Nabawi school, from the people of Sufa. Very learned people. And Prophet ﷺ sent this group of 10 people towards Udul and Qarad. And these people would take the regular route that people would take to travel. When these guys were traveling, reached this place very close to Mecca. This place is called Raji'. Then the tribe of Banu Lahyan attacked them. And people of Udul and Qarad betrayed them, left them alone to be captured and killed by the people of Banu Lahyan. 2 people were captured out of the 10 people, and they were sold to different tribes who lost their relatives in the Battle of Uhud and Badr, and they killed those 2 people. The rest, everybody in the order was 10 people died. So when Prophet ﷺ came to know about this, and this happened 6 months after the Battle of Ditch, so Prophet ﷺ wanted to teach these guys a lesson for betraying. So Prophet ﷺ went for the people of Banu Lahyan. So this is where I'm moving on to my next slide here. So let me draw again here. Okay. So this is where Banu Lahyan is. Very close to Mecca. This is where the Mecca is, right here. The bottom oval is Mecca. The top circle is Banu Lahyan. So Prophet ﷺ prepared an army of 200 men to go and teach these people of Banu Lahyan a lesson for attacking Muslims who were going towards a different place to preach Islam to the people of Qarad and Udul, and had nothing to do with the people of Banu Lahyan. So as this army, the big red arrow that you see, this as the army started going out of Medina, which is this big round circle, towards Banu Lahyan, the people of Banu Lahyan came to know about this, so they started traveling towards the Red Sea. This is the Red Sea. This blue thingy that you see over here, this is the Red Sea. So they traveled towards the Red Sea and they hid in the mountains. So Prophet ﷺ, when arrived over here, nobody was around. So in search for them, Prophet ﷺ also went towards Red Sea in a place called, very near, this place is called Usfan. Very close to this place is Usfan. So I'll show you in a different map. The first one that I showed you, in fact. Let me go to that one here. So Prophet ﷺ was somewhere over here, and he went all the way to Usfan. This is Usfan. But could not find these guys anywhere. So they were hidden in the mountains. They didn't have enough courage to come out and fight. So Prophet ﷺ, since he was so close to Mecca, this is Mecca, he was so close to Mecca, he did not want Quraysh to feel like that they have come all the way to fight with Quraysh, because they only brought an army of 200 men. So Prophet ﷺ sent Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu with 10 men forward 8 miles closer to Makkah, but away from Usfan, only 8 miles, to search around to see if he could find any traces of the people of Banu Lahyan. Since Banu Lahyan were nowhere to be found, at the end of the journey, Prophet ﷺ returned back to Medina. So that was a big statement for the idol worshippers who could not dare to come out and fight in open with the Muslims, but were coward enough to attack a small group of 10 people who were just teachers, and they were traveling from one place to another for the purpose of teaching Islam. And as Prophet ﷺ said at the end of the Battle of Ditch, that after this year, Makkans would never dare to come and fight with us in open. And that's exactly what's happening. The people of Makkah do not have enough courage to come out and fight with Muslims in open because of the massive failure in the Battle of Trench, the Battle of Ditch. And then before that, they ran away from Hamra al-Asad. They could not come to Badr again to fight with the Muslims. So they had setbacks after setbacks, failures after failures, one after another. Then Prophet ﷺ, when he came back to Medina, another incident took place. And let me take you to my next picture here. Okay. In this picture, I want you to look at these two circles that I'll be drawing. This is Medina, the red circle. In fact, one circle that I'll draw. The Qarad, or Dhu Qarad. This is the place where the battle took place. What was the reason behind it? The reason behind it was that around Medina, Prophet ﷺ would always look for a grazing land. What is a grazing land? Where you can have your animals graze out in open and there's nice grass. You got to remember, Arabia has a lot of deserts, but also has some grazing lands. So Prophet ﷺ built a grazing land. This is north of Uhud for his camels that were used by the state. So there were like 20 some camels, not a big set of camels, only 20 camels at this place of Dhu Qarad. So of course, if you have animals out in open, you want caretakers. So Prophet ﷺ had some caretakers over there. Abu Dharr Ghafari radiallahu anhu said, Ya Rasulullah, let me take care of this with my family. So he and his son and his wife, they started living there and started taking care of these animals. This place was less than a day of a journey. If you start traveling by Fajr time, you would be in Medina before Maghrib or by Asr time. So it was less than a day journey. So every day they would carry the milk of those camels. In the morning, they will take the milk, and by Asr time, they would be able to deliver the milk to Medina, and then they would head back. Something like that. So there were some people from Bani Fizara who attacked this particular graze land, and they killed Abi Dharr's son, who, when it was nighttime, 40 men under U'ayna ibn Hizn Fizari, they attacked this place. And when they attacked this place at nighttime, Abi Dharr's son stood up and started fighting with them, and he was killed in that. They abducted his wife and took the wife with them. And Abi Dharr radiallahu anhu hid, and they were not interested in Abi Dharr anyway. They were interested in camels. So they took all 20 camels and they ran away. Now, Abi Dharr radiallahu anhu started running from that place after these guys left, and he started calling for help. So one of the slaves of Abdurrahman ibn Auf was nearby, and he heard about it. But of course, by this time, these 40 men had passed away, and he was just a slave. He couldn't do much. So he started traveling towards Medina. Now, in the morning time, Salma ibn Aqwa, another companion of Prophet ﷺ, with his slave, was traveling towards the Qarad. For whatever reason, they were traveling, and they ran into the slave of Abdurrahman ibn Auf. And they said to him that, you know what happened with the camels of the state? Somebody attacked overnight, and they took all the camels. Salma ibn Aqwa, upon hearing that, he said, don't worry. He returned back from wherever he was. He was not too far away from Medina. He returned back to Medina, and he stood on one of the little mounts in Medina, and he started calling out for help. And remember, back in those days, we did not have any of these noises that we have now. There were no machines, no air conditioning, no heating, nothing. So when you would be out in the open and you're on top of the mountain, you start calling for help, the voice will travel at a long distance. So he started calling for help. He called 3 times. Of course, the voice traveled. People heard about it, but he did not want it to waste any time. So he rode his horse and he went after these people, wherever they were, however far they wanted to go. So whatever direction they were taking, the Salma ibn Aqwa alone is going after them on his horse. Now, these people, of course, they did not travel together. They split the camels in different groups and they started traveling in different directions. So Salma ibn Aqwa, with his brisk horse, was able to get one of the groups. Now, Salma didn't know that how many are there, how many camels are there. So he found a group with a bunch of camels. He thought those are the only camels, maybe like 5, 6 of them, 7 camels, that's about it. And they were like, 8, 9 people taking these camels. So what he did, he hid and he started throwing arrows at these people. When the arrow hit one of them, the other person turned around to Salma and he wanted to attack Ibn Aqwa, and he shot through another arrow, and this injured this guy and he fell. And the other people continued to move. So Salma, whenever he would find an opportunity, he would hit arrow, otherwise he would hide behind a tree. And when they would get closer, he would hit the guy that would come closer to him. And they had no idea who is this guy that is attacking them from all directions. So finally, they started throwing away their stuff so that they are lighter, and they started moving quicker. But Salma wouldn't leave them alone. As a result, they gave up all the camels that they had, this group had, and they started running quickly towards finding a place to hide. Salma alone single-handedly gathered all those camels, all their belongings that they had, and put it in one place nicely, and he kept following these guys. At nighttime, very close to the nighttime, they entered a place, a valley, where they wanted to fetch some water from, but someone constantly threw arrows at them, and they were pushed. Now, there were like a handful of them left. Half of them had already died. So those 3, 4 people, they started running towards a nearby village so that they can find some food to eat. So Salma then left them alone, gathered all the camels and everything, and he's now returning back to Medina. In the meanwhile, Prophet ﷺ ordered the companions that we have to go after these people. And several companions joined the cause, and the number grew to hundreds. And several hundred companions started marching towards the Qarad to take the revenge, because you attacked our state, you killed our people. So and they were leaving in different groups. So one of the companions got to another group, and at that time he met this guy who was returning from getting some of the camels, this guy Salma ibn Aqwa. And Salma said to this guy, you should not go alone after these guys, because he was going after another group. So the guy went and he died because he went alone and he challenged them in open. Anyway, some of the camels were returned. Another guy who was now coming with a bunch of companions from Prophet ﷺ, and he was leading the group and the Prophet was coming behind. His name was Abu Qatada. He said, I will go and fight these people. So then started the battle. In the battle, what happened was Abu Qatada got an arrow crossing his forehead. So somewhere around his forehead, he got a little arrow stuck. He wasn't able to pull it out, but anyway. But he realized all of a sudden a man showed up. A man showed up, and the man took off the armor from his head, And he said, do you recognize me? And Abu Qatada said, oh, you are Mus'ada. He said, yes. Remember when you purchased the horse that you purchased and you met me and you told me that you will defeat me on this horse? So today is the day that we fight. I am on the other side. You are on your side. Let's fight. How do you want to fight? You want to fight with the sword? You want to fight with the spear? You want to fight with an arrow? How do you want to fight? So Abu Qatada said, you pick. He said, let's wrestle. Abu Qatada said, I'm okay with it. I'm good at wrestling too. So Abu Qatada came off his horse, and this guy came off his horse, and they began to wrestle. And this person put his sword on the tree. So while wrestling, Abu Qatada defeated him and got on top of him. When Abu Qatada was on top of him, he felt like something is hitting his head. So he looked up, that was the sword of this guy. So he took the sword and killed this guy. And in the meanwhile, Abu Qatada's horse ran and went into the enemy side, and the enemy killed the horse. So Abu Qatada rode the horse of this guy and went after the enemy by himself. He was able to drag the nephew of Mus'ada out. The rest of the enemy soldiers got scared. They let all the camels go that they had, and they flee the scene. There were like 4 or 5 of them. Abu Qatada gathered all the camels, and he brought to the Prophet ﷺ. Abu Qatada brought 5 camels, and Salma ibn Aqwa brought 5 camels. So out of 20, the 10 camels are with the Muslim army now. Now they are going after the remaining camels, which are with the guys who have entered in the nearby village. This 2-3 people and other groups that have the 10 camels, they all went into that nearby village so that they can eat their dinner and then move on from there with the remaining 10 camels. And remember, they have the wife of Abu Dhar. At night time, when these guys were busy preparing the food, because they asked the local that we want you to prepare food for us. So he went and grabbed a goat and he slaughtered the goat. He wanted to take off its skin and then cooking it for these guys. In the meanwhile, this woman, she was tied. She was able to loosen her ropes, and she went into where the camels were. And one camel that was making the least noise, that was actually Prophet ﷺ's own personal ride, Utbah. So she rode that camel while these guys were busy preparing food, and she sneaked out. And then they realized, oh my God, the woman has disappeared. And then they went after her, but she was long gone. So she arrived and met with the Prophet ﷺ while he was moving in this direction. So now he has 11 camels, only 9 are left behind. So now she said, Salma ibn Aqwa and Abu Qatada, they all said that these people have entered this village and that's where they are. So it's much easier for us to go and get them. So Prophet ﷺ ordered a handful of people with horses to march towards this village. And as these guys approached the village, and these people were preparing, the people who stole the camels were preparing for the meal, they realized a bunch of army men watching towards the village. They got scared. They left whatever they were doing, and they all ran away, and they left all the camels behind. So all of these camels were captured, and they were brought to the Prophet ﷺ. So then all 20 of the camels returned. Now, during this course of journey, of course, there were hundreds of men, like 700 men joined this expedition. So, Prophet ﷺ had to arrange for their meals too, because this was a 5-day expedition. So Muslims were out of Medina for 5 days. Usually back in those days, you needed 1 camel to feed 100 people. So you need 7 camels per day, because there were 700 of them, times 5. That's 35 camels were needed to feed an army of 700 for 5 days. And guess who? The guy by the name of Sa'd ibn Ubadah, he said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I will take care of these preparing meals for these people, and my camels are here. One day, Bilal radiallahu anhu also slaughtered his camel to feast the 100 people out of the 700 men. But anyway, the Prophet and his army were outside of the Medina for 5 days, and then they returned back to Medina. Okay, all of these incidents happen after the Battle of Ditch. Now, upon returning back after the Battle of Ditch, remember that Prophet ﷺ is living in Medina, and there are other things also happening. We are concentrating on these little events. Prophet ﷺ saw a dream. In this dream, he saw that he is, along with his companions, he entered Kaaba, and he's doing tawaf around the Kaaba, and then they are removing the hair, like Umrah, they're doing Umrah. And when he woke up in the morning, he said to his companions that, let's go and do the Umrah. What do you guys say? I saw the dream in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed me that we are all in Kaaba and we are all doing Umrah. And the companions were very excited, especially Muslims have not been to Makkah in the last 6 years after the Prophet ﷺ migrated, because they were banned from entering and they were banned from doing Hajj and Umrah. So they had not been to Kaaba in a long time, and especially the people who were living in Makkah, they got extremely excited and like, of course, Ya Rasulullah ﷺ, we will go. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, okay, we will go, but remember, we are not going for a war. So everybody at the most can carry one sword, and that should be in its case, because we're not going for fighting. And one sword in a case was normal for travelers because you needed something to protect yourself. You cannot just go without any weapon on you, because that's what the tradition of the tribal life over there. So they left Medina. Prophet ﷺ took shower. He left Medina, and then outside of the Medina, they all wore ihram, and now they are going towards Mecca. The people of the Mecca came to know about that the Muslims are coming towards Mecca, and they thought the Muslims are coming to attack Mecca because a few months ago, Muslims came as very close to us, but they didn't attack us when they came after Banu Lahyan. So they are worried. So they are now, people of Mecca are now preparing army to fight Muslims. And all the surrounding tribes are now contributing to this army that we have to defend our cities because they're under the view that Muslims are coming to attack. So they have stationed their armies in different places. So one place, when Prophet ﷺ reached closer to Mecca, Khalid ibn Walid came with his army, and he said, you cannot enter Mecca. And this is outside of the city limits, that's outside of the area in which fighting is prohibited. So Prophet ﷺ told them, we have not come here to fight with you guys. Look at us, we are wearing ihram. We have come over here to perform the Umrah, just like anybody else. We have the same amount of right to perform the Umrah. You cannot stop us. They said, but you cannot go. You are our enemy, and our enemies are not welcome in Mecca. So you either fight with us or you go back. So Prophet ﷺ stationed his army over there. And stationed the men over there. There were like 1,400. Some people say 1,500. Some say 1,600. Some say 1,300. But most historians are of the opinion that there were 1,400 men on the side of the Prophet ﷺ, and that's a big amount of men to be traveling. Prophet ﷺ ordered one group of people to face Khalid ibn Walid, while the other group of people would pray, and then they can switch. So Salatul Khawf was performed at that point, and this is leading us into the Pact of Hudaybiyah. That's basically we are heading towards with this. So we will stop here. We will continue the Pact of Hudaybiyah from this point onwards. A lot of you might have heard about the Hudaybiyah before, but I just wanted to give you some more background information, and we will look at some more insights of this part of the story as to then what really happened before the Pact of Hudaybiyah and in the aftermath of the Pact of Hudaybiyah. But that's for the next time. Does anybody has any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Who is Banu Qurayza?
Banu Qurayza. Banu Qurayza was one of the tribes in the city of Medina area. There were several tribes. So the tribe name was Banu Qurayza means the people of Qurayza. So there were several tribes, and like today we learn about Qara. Qara is one tribe. Udul is another tribe. Lahyan is another tribe. So people of Makkah mostly were Quraysh. That was their tribe name. And within the tribe, there were other branches like the people of Banu Hashim, the people of Banu Umayyah, and people of Banu Makhzum. These were sub-tribes of Quraysh. So Quraysh was a big tribe. So these are the names of different tribes. Okay? Okay, Mu'adh, go ahead.
Why is the Red Sea called the Red Sea?
Because of the color, you know, I mean, like of the sand, the water is colorless. So when it reflects, it gives you this reddish tint.
Allah Hafiz.
Okay? Okay, guys. If you don't have any
Allah
more
Hafiz.
questions, then that's all for today. I'll see you guys inshallah next week. Assalamu
Allah
alaikum.
Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Hafiz.